Pakistan is not a destination you casually scroll past. It is a place wrapped in silence and intensity, misunderstood before it is ever seen. Beyond the headlines lies a country where mountains guard ancient civilizations, where faith, survival, and beauty have been negotiating with time for thousands of years. This is not a story about danger or spectacle. It is about what the world failed to notice. To travel through Pakistan is to peel back layers of history, of identity, of resilience, and ask a deeper question. What if the real mystery was never the land, but our distance from it? Geography and nature, a land shaped by extremes. To understand Pakistan, one must first understand its land. Geography here is not a backdrop. It is a force that has shaped thought, movement, and survival for centuries. Pakistan stretches across some of the most dramatic terrain on Earth. Where nature does not merely exist, it commands attention. In the north, the land rises sharply. The Karakoram, Himalaya, and Hindu Kush ranges converge in a collision of stone and ice, forming a landscape that feels almost unreal. Peaks like K2 do not invite admiration so much as they demand humility. These mountains are not decorative. They dictate climate, isolate communities, and preserve ways of life that would not survive elsewhere. Villages such as Hunza and Skardu exist at the edge of endurance, where human settlement feels less like expansion and more like negotiation with altitude, weather, and time. Moving south, the terrain softens but does not lose significance. The Indus River flows like a historical spine, sustaining fertile plains that have fed civilizations for thousands of years. Cities grew here not by accident, but by obedience to water, soil, and seasonal rhythm. Further still, the land opens into deserts like Thar, where survival is sparse and deliberate, and finally reaches the Arabian Sea, where ports connect Pakistan to the wider world. This diversity is not common. Few countries contain glaciers, forests, deserts, plains, and coastline within one border. Yet, this physical contrast also explains Pakistan's internal complexity, its regional identities, its cultural layers, its tensions and harmonies. The land teaches patience, resilience, and adaptation. So the question becomes unavoidable. How does a country remain singular when its geography is so divided? That answer lies not in maps, but in memory. History in layers, where civilizations overlap. Pakistan is not young, even if its modern borders suggest otherwise. Beneath its cities and valleys lies a deep accumulation of human presence. Centuries layered upon centuries, each leaving marks without fully erasing what came before. Here, history does not move forward in a straight line. It circles, overlaps, and quietly persists. Along the banks of the Indus River, one of the world's earliest urban civilizations once flourished. Cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro were carefully planned, built with standardized bricks and advanced drainage systems over 4,000 years ago. These were not early experiments in settlement, but confident expressions of order and design. Their disappearance remains unexplained, a reminder that progress, no matter how sophisticated, is never guaranteed to last. Over time, the region became less a destination than a passage. Buddhist monks moved through Gandhara, carving belief into stone. Greek influence arrived with Alexander's campaigns, blending unexpectedly with local culture. Later, Islamic empires, most notably the Mughals, redefined the landscape through mosques, forts, gardens, and cities that reflected a philosophy of balance, symmetry, and faith. Colonial rule added another layer, altering the rhythm of life through railways, administration, and imposed borders. When Pakistan emerged as a nation in 1947, it did not begin anew. It inherited a dense and unfinished archive of identities, memories, and unresolved histories that continue to shape the present. This is what separates travel in Pakistan from the simple act of visiting landmarks. Every road crosses multiple timelines. Within a single city, ruins older than Rome stand beside Mughal architecture, colonial facades, and modern concrete, coexisting without clear boundaries. History here is not preserved behind glass. It remains exposed, sometimes uneasy, often incomplete. And perhaps that is the most honest form of history. Not a perfected narrative, but a living one, layered, unresolved, and still asking questions of those willing to pay attention. As travelers, are we prepared to encounter history not as something finished, but as something still unfolding around us? Architecture and sacred space, when belief shapes the land. If geography explains how people survived in Pakistan, architecture reveals how they believed. Across the country, sacred spaces rise not as isolated monuments, but as anchors of daily life. Here, architecture is rarely neutral. It carries intention, discipline, and faith, quietly shaping how communities gather, pause, and reflect. Mosques such as Badshahi in Lahore or the Shah Faisal Mosque in Islamabad are not only impressive for their scale, their power lies in proportion and restraint. Wide courtyards invite stillness. Arches frame the sky. Stone absorbs sound. These spaces are designed to slow the body down, to remind visitors, believers or not, that time can move differently. Faith here is expressed through order and balance rather than excess. Yet, sacred architecture in Pakistan is not limited to Islam alone. Traces of Buddhist monasteries, Hindu temples, and Sufi shrines remain scattered across the landscape. Some stand in ruins. Others continue to function quietly, attended by local communities rather than tourists. This coexistence tells a deeper story. Spirituality in Pakistan has never been singular. It has layered itself over centuries, adapting to new beliefs while preserving older echoes. Forts and tombs add another dimension. Mughal structures blend military strength with aesthetic grace, suggesting that power was once meant to be admired as much as feared. Even today, these buildings dominate their surroundings not by height alone, but by harmony with space. Moving through these places, one senses that architecture here is not about permanence alone. It is about presence. About marking meaning in a landscape that constantly reminds humans of their limits. And in a world that increasingly builds upward and faster, what does it say when a culture chooses, instead, to build inward towards silence and reflection? People and daily life, the human core of Pakistan. No landscape or monument can explain Pakistan as clearly as its people do. Beyond the mountains and mosques, daily life unfolds with a rhythm shaped by community, resilience, and quiet generosity. In villages and cities alike, hospitality is not treated as a gesture, it is a responsibility. Strangers are greeted with curiosity rather than suspicion. Conversations begin easily, often without urgency. Tea, chai, is offered, not as a formality, but as an invitation to pause. These moments reveal a cultural instinct to connect before explaining. This human core is held together by a social fabric that is often divided by space, but united by purpose. While the bustling markets and tea shops are often dominated by the loud energy of men, the true foundation of Pakistani life often resides in the quiet, fierce strength of its women. In the emerald fields of Punjab and the stone houses of the north, women are the silent architects of the household and the economy. You see them in the vibrant embroidery of their dupattas, in the way they manage the complex geometry of family and tradition, and in the increasing presence of female students and professionals reclaiming their place in the modern narrative. Theirs is a strength that doesn't always shout, but it sustains. Traditional clothing like the shalwar kameez is worn not to preserve an image, but because it suits climate and movement. Markets overflow with color and negotiation, while artisans continue crafts passed down through generations. Truck art, painted boldly across vehicles, turns even the most practical object into a moving gallery of symbols, poetry, and pride. Life here is not without hardship. Economic pressure and social tensions are part of the everyday reality. But what stands out is the humor in conversation, the patience in routine, and the dignity in persistence. Children, boys and girls alike, walk to school along roads carved by history, carrying the weight of their parents' aspirations. In these ordinary scenes, Pakistan reveals something rarely captured in headlines: a society held together not by spectacle, but by endurance and shared humanity. So perhaps the most important journey through Pakistan is not across distance, but across perception. What happens when we stop looking for extremes and begin paying attention to the ordinary? Festivals, the burst of collective joy. Daily life in Pakistan is often shaped by patience, routine, and quiet endurance. Responsibilities are carried steadily. Conversations unfold without haste, and time moves according to obligation rather than desire. Yet within this measured rhythm, there are moments when the weight of everyday life is gently set aside. Festivals arrive not as interruptions, but as release. They do not replace daily reality, they soften it. When celebration begins, it feels less like an escape and more like a collective breath drawn after long restraint. Religion and season guide this rhythm of joy. During Eid, neighborhoods awaken early, carrying the scent of rosewater, spice, and freshly prepared meals. Doors open wider than usual. Food is shared not as indulgence, but as generosity. Charity becomes visible, woven naturally into celebration rather than announced. At Sufi shrines, the transformation is deeper and more physical. The steady beat of the dole drum grows louder as bodies gather in circles. The Damal begins slowly, then pulls individuals into its rhythm until boundaries dissolve. Status, age, and identity blur. What remains is movement, devotion, and surrender. It is not spectacle, but communion, a search for the divine through motion. In the northern valleys, the spring festivals of the Kalash people bring color without urgency. Dances unfold in embroidered garments, gestures repeated across generations, not performed for attention, but preserved for continuity. In the cities, echoes of Basant still linger in memory, a season when rooftops once filled with kites, each string a quiet assertion of joy reaching upward. Even the polo matches of Shandur feel ceremonial rather than competitive. Played on the highest fields in the world, they celebrate endurance, tradition, and community as much as skill. These festivals are not a denial of hardship. They exist because of it. In a life that can be demanding, joy becomes essential rather than optional. To gather, to dance, to feast is not indulgence. It is resilience expressed aloud. Food as memory, tasting history, one dish at a time. To travel through Pakistan is to understand that food here is not entertainment. It is memory, climate, and history served on a plate. Pakistani cuisine does not seek subtlety. It speaks clearly, often loudly, and without apology. Meals begin with heat, both literal and emotional. The aroma of spices fills streets and kitchens alike, announcing that cooking is a communal act. Biryani is layered rather than mixed, each grain of rice absorbing stories of migration and empire. Nihari simmers overnight, demanding patience before reward. Karahi crackles over open flame, prepared in moments but perfected through repetition. Street food reveals another side of the country. Vendors work with practiced hands, guided by instinct rather than recipe. There is rhythm in the chopping, confidence in the seasoning, and pride in the final offering. Eating here is not rushed. Even in crowded markets, food creates a pause, a shared moment between strangers standing shoulder to shoulder. What makes Pakistani cuisine distinctive is not just spice, but honesty. Dishes reflect geography, richer in the north, sharper in the south. They reflect history, Persian influences, Central Asian techniques, Mughal refinement. And they reflect necessity, turning simple ingredients into sustaining comfort. Food in Pakistan is rarely photographed before being eaten. It is meant to be felt, not displayed. And in that choice lies a quiet philosophy. Nourishment comes before presentation. As travelers, do we taste a country merely to sample it, or to understand what it has endured? Beyond the tourist lens, Pakistan off the map. The most revealing parts of Pakistan are often those left unnamed on travel itineraries. Beyond the iconic peaks and historic cities lies a quieter country, one that resists categorization and refuses to become a spectacle. In the remote valleys of the north, life operates at a pace untouched by algorithms. Here, roads are not planned. They are negotiated with the weather. Time is measured by the length of a shadow or the turning of a season, not the flicker of a screen. In these pockets of isolation, modernity arrives only in whispers. A single solar panel leaning against a centuries-old stone wall. A smartphone used to call a son in the city. Tradition maintained not for performance, but for survival. To the south and west, in the vast stretches of Baluchistan and Sindh, semi-nomadic communities move through a landscape that offers no guarantees. Their existence is a masterclass in minimalism. Knowledge is passed orally, refined by the necessity of finding water and the wisdom of the stars. These lives are rarely documented because they cannot be easily simplified into a postcard. This is Pakistan without a narrator, a land that does not attempt to impress and feels no need to explain itself. It exists fully, whether observed or not. It asks only to be seen clearly, as a place that is content in its own silence. Reality and resilience, the Pakistan that does not look away. But any honest journey must eventually step out of the silence and confront the noise of reality. To look at Pakistan only through its beauty would be a different kind of distance, a refusal to see the country as it truly is. This is not a land without scars. The headlines that the world sees are often rooted in a difficult truth. Security remains a constant conversation, and the shadows of regional conflict have long influenced the national psyche. Climate change is no longer a distant threat here. It is a visible thief, bringing floods that swallow villages and droughts that exhaust the soil. Economic inequality carves deep lines between the glittering malls of the cities and the dust of the rural outskirts. These are not hidden truths, nor should they be. Yet, what defines Pakistan is not the weight of these challenges, but the refusal to be crushed by them. Resilience here is not a grand gesture. It is woven into the mundane. It is the family rebuilding their home with the same mud after the floodwaters recede, without waiting for the world to notice. It is the farmer adjusting his crop to a shifting sun with quiet precision. It is the young generation in Lahore or Karachi, navigating the tension between ancient tradition and a digital future, carrying the weight of both without dropping either. There is a dignity in this persistence, a refusal to surrender normalcy. Life here does not move forward heroically, it moves forward steadily. Pakistan is neither a tragedy to be pitied, nor a triumph to be idealized. It is a place where survival is a refined skill, and where hope is not a word, but a daily action. Closing reflections. Seeing Pakistan clearly. Pakistan cannot be understood in fragments. It resists headlines, shortcuts, and quick judgments. To see it clearly requires time, patience, and the courage to sit with complexity rather than escape it. What remains is not a single narrative, but a living tension between extremes of landscape and balance in daily life, between a heavy past and an unfinished present. Pakistan does not seek admiration or sympathy. It simply exists, unapologetically vast and deeply human. The true journey here is not about discovery, but recalibration. Assumptions loosen, distance dissolves, understanding replaces fear. In the end, Pakistan is not a place to be decoded. It is a perspective that must be earned, and once seen, it quietly changes how the world is understood.